Hello, everybody. Welcome back for the people who were joining me yesterday, and welcome to new viewers of today. I'll explain a little bit what we do, so I will give some information and material to practice for you for the coming weeks, hopefully not too long, that we can meet again real life in the schools. And okay, so yesterday we talked about the rhythm changes, one of the most important forms in jazz music. Today I want to talk about the blues. I think the second one, or even equally important form in the jazz music. I'm happy I got a lot of nice comments and reactions yesterday. Thanks for that, and also some good suggestions. Somebody already asked for one time to maybe talk about technique, and specifically how to improve your technique. And I would add for playing jazz. So maybe tomorrow we can go for the technical part, with technical exercises and more jazz-related exercises than only classical. And some people already start making a list with possible melodies and heads on rhythm changes, which is very appreciated. In the morning I just found also on Wikipedia, if you look for contrafect in jazz music, then you can see all the themes that are written on I Got Rhythm from George Gershwin, what we talked about yesterday. Somebody also was kind of making a list of all the subjects we discussed yesterday and some exercises, so that could be really helpful also for you to do. So like just write down, maybe even during the session, okay, that would be a good thing to practice, this could be interesting. Also, listening examples, like I will mention a lot of things that you can find on YouTube. And it would be cool if you were allowed to see the comments after the streaming. Okay, I will try if I can manage it. I'm not really a digital wizard, but I'll see what I can do. Okay, so today about the blues. You could say blues is not only a tune, but of course also a style. So like if there's like a lot of blues bands and so, but of course we're going to talk about the jazz blues. I think a nice thing to do is kind of the same as yesterday. I will give you a lot of harmonic variations, possibilities, and actually it's quite related to the rhythm changes. A lot of things like the giant steps changes or the dominant circle of fifths. Dominant chain can also be applied. Also some 2/5s, chromatically, or tritone 2/5s. So a lot of stuff will come back what we talked about yesterday. Okay, I'll play a little blues and then explain some stuff. Okay. So the theme I played is a little bit not so well known as, for instance, Billy's Bounce, or like Now's the Time, that kind of tune. There was a composition written by bass player Ron Carter. It's called United Blues, and it's a super cool recording. The record's called Third Plane, so Third Plane, with Herbie Hancock and Tony Williams. If you like, I also have a transcription of that, so I can put later on my website. So all the transcriptions from yesterday are also on my website, hofvanbavel.com/news. So anybody, maybe already some question about the blues and maybe about the things I played. I really try to show you some harmonic possibilities. Okay, maybe that can come later. So same as with the rhythm changes, the blues is a very strong structure. It's this 12 bar, and it has the same kind of features as the rhythm changes. You have the very strong basic functions. So you have the 1, the 4, and the 5. That's basically it. Yeah, modal blues we'll do later, Danny. Great. So so basically, whatever happens, you have to incorporate the 1, the 4, and the 5. So the 4 always comes in the 5th bar, and the 5 can come in the 9th bar, or maybe 1 bar later if you like go first for the 2-5. So maybe let's show it. Oh yeah, and I shouldn't play and talk same time, I heard, because then the sound is terrible. Okay. So that's basically actually the whole blues. But of course, in jazz, we always like to add a lot of chords to create more harmonic movement. So let's say if we go for the more jazz blues, we would go maybe already to the 4 in 2nd bar. Okay, so that's kind of the basic functions. Then, of course, if we look at a lot of different compositions that are written as a blues, we can see all the possibilities. A lot of composers use, for instance, like Charlie Parker, he added a lot of 2-5s. And like a really good example is like what we call the Parker blues, or the blues for Alice changes. So let's say it's basically the same changes as the first 4 bars of confirmation. So like, and then he continues with a lot of chromatic 2-5s. So you get like. So that's definitely, it doesn't sound so bluesy anymore as like in the beginning with all the blues licks. Okay, so wait a minute. Walking bass. Okay, yeah. So actually, if you practice alone, walking bass can be a good thing, and also just like using the left hand. What I said yesterday, more like the Bud Powell kind of thing, like 1-7 or even 1-7-10. Or maybe you just a bass in 2, so on the 1 and the 3. And so to create actually the rhythm actually gives the rhythm with the right hand. That's actually also a good example. Like Oscar Peterson does that a lot when he plays fast. Yeah, the walking bass, of course, then your concentration will go also more to your left hand. So unless it's really kind of automatic thing or really independent, then you can still improvise on the right hand. But I think it's cool to practice anyway. So maybe like go for a bass line. Maybe actually that could be a nice assignment, like write a walking bass line yourself on the blues. I'll give one example. So okay, that's already quite difficult to do, but it's a good practice maybe. Okay, so let's say if you go like a little bit more towards the harmonic variations. So oh yeah, Sebastian, you're right. So if we kind of going to add more chords, we can also add the diminished on the sharp 4. Let's see. So that's definitely a good like a passing chord. Another possibility what we can do is also what I already did actually put the 2/5 in the 4th bar. So C minor F7 in the F blues. And one of my favorite, and I think also from a lot of other piano players, is to change it into a tritone 2/5. So that will be F sharp minor 7 B7. And even if the bass player would go for the F7, that sounds actually super cool, super hip. Yeah, and also like for instance, kind of more modern players like Dave Kikoski, they use the F sharp pentatonic there. That would be super cool too. So. Yeah, so that's F sharp minor pentatonic in bar 4. Luca asked the possibilities for bars 7 and 8. Yeah, that's also a good question. So let's say that's actually the place where we arrive back on the F7, so on the 1. So now I applied like 1, 4, 3, 6 to go to the G minor in bar 9. Another possibility would be chromatic. So I start on bar 5. Okay, if you want to go more for like the more swing or traditional style, you could also go 1 and 2 sharp, 2 diminished to the 3. So bar 5. some people like. Okay. So there are of course a lot of more tricks, but these are kind of like the basic harmonic variations that are used. One that's also cool that always works good is like instead of the 2-5 at the end in bar 9-10, first a chromatic 2-5 from a half step above. So I start bar 5. So A flat minus 7, D flat 7. That's actually that's in one of the tunes written by John Clayton, Blues for Stephanie. It's a big band tune where you use always this progression. And okay, so I want to also show you a few things that actually are same as in the rhythm change what we saw yesterday. We saw in the rhythm changes bar 5 till 9. You could do this Charlie Parker thing, like so let's say rhythm change in F. Okay, so we play F, F7 with an A in the bass, B flat 7, B diminished to F7 with a C in the bass. The same thing you can apply in the first 2 bars actually of the blues. So with some Parker lick. So it creates a complete different harmonic movement in the first 2 bars. So practice that and try to incorporate that in your playing. Okay, now some little bit more exotic harmonic variations that I like a lot. I found one with Pepper Adams. You use in the first 4 bars you go whole steps down with dominants, sus chords, or 2 5s. So let's first hear how about dominants. F7, E flat 7, D flat 7, B7. Now it's sus chords, sounds a little bit more hip. And if you have a sus chord, which yesterday we talked about, is basically a 2-5 in jazz. So it's C minor 7 with an F in the bass. So let's make it into a whole 2-5. So C minor 7, F7, B flat minor 7, E flat 7, A flat minor 7, D flat 7, F sharp minor 7, B7. So that's yeah, it's definitely it's from a specific song, but I don't remember the name. It was Pepper Adams with Ted Jones, and I think the record is called "Think What You Say" or "Say What You Think," something like that. Okay, but it's also cool to use these kind of things as a kind of superimposing over the regular blues. Okay, so the same thing actually we can do also from bar 9 till the end of the blues. So we go whole steps down, C, B flat, A flat, G flat, and then we're back on the top. That one I remember from which tune I found it. It's actually Blue Mouse from the Chick Corea Electric Band, but it also, I think sometimes Coltrane uses it in solos. So there's actually a great record, of course, also check it out. Coltrane plays the blues. So I think he does this kind of thing. So that's already quite a lot of different harmonic variations. Oh, somebody asked, what scales do you play for sus chords? That's a good question. So anyway, we arrive now on the sus. So if you basically think about 2-5, then it's very important to know that most times it works best if you use the same scale, the 2 and the 5. So the F sus that we saw, so actually C minor with F in the bass. So it would be F mixolydian. And you can add always some chromatics we just played. So. Also known as the dominant bebop scale. So now I added even some more chromatics. Chromatics is also a whole big topic, so we can maybe also one of the sessions talk about chromatics. Another possibility for the sus chords to use, which is cool, is the pentatonic scales. So if you have F sus, and we still think about C minor 7, so C minor pentatonic. So that one works. The next one that works is G minor pentatonic, so actually from the 2. The only thing is we don't have the E flat in the F sus, but it's okay. And, one I really like is actually also related to Coltrane, is to use the C minor 6 sus pentatonic, C minor 6 pentatonic. And the cool thing is that actually we accentuate the third on the sus chord, which is, I think, one of the things that especially Herbie Hancock is a big fan of. So you get so like really actually kind of ignoring sus, that sus means actually suspended, so the third is suspended by the 4. But if you just think of the scale and keep building thirds, you're right to the first. And in America they call it a sus 17, which is actually a cool name because it doesn't exist. Okay, so that's kind of for the sus chord. Yeah, outside pentatonic options. Yeah, definitely. I think that's related to the blues. Is what we can do is kind of forget about the regular blues changes, but go for more chromatic chords. So let's say F sus. And then as a peasant chord, F sharp sus. And then the F sharp that we saw. So I play. So actually, I kind of ignored kind of the really functional chords and only went for chromatic approach chords in this form of a sus chord. That's actually also what I got from an amazing solo on the blues. That was always the favorite solo of jazz piano player Jan Hartog, Dutch piano player. It's called Some Other Blues from the record Inner Trust by Dave Kikoski Trio. He plays all the amazing stuff. So, the first 4 bars. So really check out that recording. Dave Kikoski, Inner Trust, Some Other Blues. Anyway, it's a really nice theme to practice. Some Other Blues by John Coltrane. Okay, I'll quickly look at some questions. Confident for yourself in a solo situation. Yeah, so definitely, I would have said before, maybe use a walking bass or a bass in 2, or a bass actually only when the chord changes and let the right hand give the tempo and the harmonies, or try really the walking bass, or go for the Bud Powell 1713 or 173. I think maybe another possibility would be stride piano, which is also a whole different different subject, and or maybe even just like kind of a rhythmic pattern in the left hand. This one I practice a little bit, so you like that. So bass note on the 1, chord on the 2 end. That one actually also, it's from Oscar Peterson recording. I forgot shit. Okay. Okay, so yeah, that's a difficult question. So I think if we practice alone, which probably we're going to do the next few weeks, unfortunately. So maybe what you can do if you want to kind of really work on your time feel and rhythm section, you could maybe play the bass on 1 and 3, put the metronome on 2 and 4, and then you kind of imitate the hi-hat of the drummer. And otherwise, I would also suggest if you practice alone, always record yourself now and then really listen back where it went faster, where it went slower. And most time that's related to something you wanted to do in the improvisation. So if it's difficult, then most time it goes slower. Same as with classical. Yeah, good question. So this is still, of course, like about the regular jazz blues. But of course, in major, but of course, we also have the minor blues. Maybe one more thing about the major blues. There's an important thing for piano players. There are some bebop tunes, for instance, like Au Privat and like Farmer's Market, and maybe even like Dance of the Infidels of Bud Powell. But they have a really major melody, and even like sometimes then people, they just keep playing the regular blues. So they play B flat 7 in the second bar, while the melody a lot of times is A. I will give you an example that I hear a lot from lessons and exams. So really always listen carefully to the melody and adjust your chords or left hand chords or comping to the melody. And also the other one. So Farmer's Market. The other was Au Privat. And the most weird blues, I think, and the most major sound is Dance of the Infidels. That's a really cool tune to practice, Bud Powell. With this. So it sounds really major-ish. Okay, it's a cool tune to practice. Maybe let's see some other questions. Yeah, so the minor blues. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I think for me the nicest minor blues melodies are actually like Stolen Moments. That's one, and Mr. PC, of course, and I think also a nice one, but of course it's in 3/4. It's actually Footprints, which is also minor blues. And minor blues we can apply kind of the same principles. And we can use the chromatic approach course. We can add like tritone 2 5s, and so for instance, like if we have the So I applied some of the pentatonic patterns like on the chromatic approach chords. Oh, that was a lot of things at the same time. So what I wanted to say. Yeah, so as piano players, that's a nice thing maybe to add to talk about on the blues. As piano players, we have the luxury we can play more than one note at the same time. A lot of times in the bebop, of course, piano players are kind of trying to imitate the horn players in the solo. But if you go like a little bit before that, like the New Orleans piano or like the swing, or even like people like Dr. John, they use a lot of double notes, and that's super cool to practice. And of course, Oscar Peterson use a lot. I saw one of the questions before actually. So let's maybe also go for some really like traditional, but also super nice blues licks on the piano. So for that, anyway, really nice to check out online. There's a whole book, series of books actually from Dr. John, and it's called the Homespun series, where he explains in his own funny way about blues, piano, and New Orleans. So let's say definitely we're going to use a lot of double notes. So instead of oh, sorry, I'm C. I'll stay in F today. Okay. That is what Dr. John calls the famous lick. This is the famous lick. So that one practice in 12 keys. Okay. And there's some variations. That's actually Oscar Peterson lick. And so that's all kind of related, like the New Orleans piano and like Oscar Peterson. People like Oscar Peterson or Gene Harris and Monty Alexander, also one of my favorites. He has like this. That's called Night Mist Blues, and it's on one of his most famous recordings live at the Montreux Jazz Festival. The whole concert is on YouTube, so that's again a nice listening tip, maybe. So I'll play the lick a little bit slower, of course, no problem. And so it's B flat D to F to F, A flat C, A, F A, F C, B flat F, F, A flat F to the A. Yeah, that's one of the famous licks. Eh? So another one that we can also practice that I like, it's again with the double notes. So I try to play a few of those double note things. I will put also tonight online on my website. I have a page with some of those licks. Okay, one that I found recently, it's also really nice. It's Herbie Hancock lick. Yeah, that's from the recording with the record's called Possibilities, and it's kind of same lick on Stitched Up with John Mayer. Okay, let me see if there are any questions. Practice unison. Oh, with left and right. Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could definitely practice Charlie Parker with 2 hands. That's gonna be hard, I think, but definitely you can do. And yeah. Of course, you can also practice the left hand separate. Then, of course, you will get other lines because normally the left hand is following what you already can do with the right hand. So, but to solo with only the left hand, that would be definitely a good exercise, challenge. Yeah. But for the 2 hands, what I also sometimes practice is just play really slowly, actually almost like rubato, and then practice lines. Let's say. And if you feel comfortable with certain lines, then just go faster. Yeah. Would you play outside phrases in a Parker blues? Everything is possible. But I think you always have to keep in mind the context and also the situation. I mean, I used to play 12 years in a quartet of a really bebop alto player in Holland, Piet Noordijk. And sometimes I would just throw in some of my outside stuff, and it sounded really weird because it's like a clash of really different styles. But of course, if you play trio, solo, you can do whatever you like. Yeah, about the outside stuff on the minor blues, maybe we can one time really go for a pentatonic lesson and like side slipping, that kind of thing. It's kind of quite a big subject to do now, maybe. Okay, and so we got the really blues licks, Oscar Peterson style or Dr. John style, and we got all the harmonic variations. That's I still want to add a few because yesterday we talked also on the rhythm change about Coltrane changes and about dominant change. So we can also apply this on the blues. So let's say if we take the first 4 bars, then we have to go in four bars from the 1 to the 4. So we can actually apply giant steps. Basically like by just adding 1 extra B7 at the end. Which is basically also the same as 26-2 from Coltrane. Okay, another thing that could be nice is what we talked about yesterday is putting in the dominant change. So on the rhythm changes, it was from F sharp 7. And so in this case, in the rhythm change in B flat, we end on B flat. So in the blues, in the 5th bar, we also end on B flat. So you can do exactly the same trick. So let's say last part of the blues. So that's that's maybe also a nice thing to practice, but be careful with throwing that in. The bass player still has to drive you home. Okay, so let's see. Comping the blues, yeah, that's also a good question. I have some like standard compings that I use a lot. So let's say, and also rhythmic comping, so we can actually combine those two. Okay, so for a blues, what I like the sound is like to use actually the upper structure fourths. I use a lot. So left hand can be what I call the shell voicing. So 3-7-7-3. And the right hand we go for the fourth chord. So the turnaround, I will show you a little slower. So actually, it's like F7, A flat 7, G7, G flat 7. So basically, it's chromatic from A flat 7 down to F7. So that one is nice to practice. So for comping and blues, I kind of prefer this kind of chords with a lot of fourths. And the next thing that's good to practice is like, again, the chromatic approach. So let's say if we go from F to B flat. So before the B flat, we play B7. So you get this movement. That could work. And the nice thing about chromatic chords is that you can still add a different melody on top. So you can hear on the left hand, you hear this. Okay, so that could be something for comping. And about the rhythm, there's some nice things to practice. Basically, what could happen, if it could work, is always kind of going for the end of 4 or 4 end, as we say in Holland. So that also creates kind of rhythmic forward motion. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So try that out also when you play with the drummer. I really like to join you for that. Another thing that's really nice to practice is like what we call riff comping. So that means like whole time using the same rhythmic pattern, like 1, 2 end, for instance. So I'll play the right hand, the comping, left hand, the bass that you can hear. That's Winter Kelly, Red Garland stuff, or like all anticipated. So end of 4, end of 2, 1, 2, 3. And the same things you can actually also apply to your left hand comping. So let's say the first one with the 1 and the end of 2. it's kind of riff comping, and of course you can make your own riffs or like even going for like a pattern that goes over more than one bar, maybe 2 bars, maybe even like 4 bars or whatever. So one thing that could be nice to practice is actually like I'm still practicing, but the dotted quarter notes in the left hand. So that's kind of what I found with Errol Garner. I think he was the first one who did it, but also Michel Petrucciani, he did it. So like, let's say in the blues, all dotted quarter notes. So like to keep it going, it's quite tricky. Yeah. I saw some question about substitutions. Where you come to soloists, would you always exclusively follow the soloist to suggest those subs and then play them? I think it's always a matter of choice. Like sometimes it's nice to really go with the soloist if he does some interesting stuff. So really trying to follow him as in a conversation, like say, yeah, I know what you mean. But of course, sometimes you can also maybe use those substitutions to make your own comping more interesting, even when it's not like exactly what the soloist does. And so for the comping, also think about your own melodic approach, but also like melody, rhythm, and harmony. So there's always a lot of interesting things to do with comping. What kind of extensions, alterations could you use on different dominants in the blues? Yeah, so definitely that's also a really cool thing to talk about. I think always the dominant chord has the most possibilities in different sounds. So let's say if you play already the first chord, which is dominant. So now I played it with 9, actually like a diatonic. But you can also say, like actually what we saw yesterday in the rhythm changes, you can also change it maybe into an octatonic. To make octatonic blues maybe. Actually, there's a recording of Bill Evans. It's called No Cover, No Minimum. And there he uses all this octatonic stuff. So again, by listening a lot to different players on the blues, you will discover a lot of possibilities. Another thing could be also like to sometimes change the dominant, maybe not the F7, but to change some dominants into a sharp 11, like for instance on the B flat. So F7 could actually also work, yeah. And one that I definitely always change is like when we go to the 2, the G minor, make it into G7 sharp 11 as a really fresh sound. And let's say if you so that's the thing you can use in a lot of tunes, like where you actually have a long 2-5, G minor 7, C7, change the G minor into G7 sharp 11 13. So go into the C alt. So complete different sound. So there's a lot of possibilities. Yeah. 12 keys. Whoa. Yeah. So we could also practice like as with the rhythm changes, you could practice maybe in 12 keys if you're up for that. So actually I wrote one blues long ago. It's called Thrill Seekers. So people who are looking for danger. This one is actually in 12 keys. So a nice way to practice the blues in 12 keys is to already modulate in the last 3 bars. So I'll give you a little example. So that A, so I was really A flat. So if you're really in for that, you could practice the blues 12 keys like that. Somebody says like whole tone. Yeah, you could also make a whole tone blues. Why not? You could be the first one, I think. Okay, so some line scale patterns to practice over the 9, 11, 13 sound. Yeah, for sure. So I was talking about, let's say we talk about already the first chord, F7, sharp 9, F7, 9, sharp 11, 13. The scale I would use would be the melodic minor from a 5th higher. So there's your sharp 11. So actually you see that the 9, sharp 11, and the 13, they form a triad. So you could actually just also really accentuate that triad. Ooh, that's from the ice hockey. So that's kind of accentuating the triad. You can also accentuate the other part of the scale, the C minor part. And if you combine them, then you get this Oscar-Peterson lick that maybe is really actually good to practice with 2 hands. So let's say. So that one in 12 keys, of course. Yes. About company if we're jamming with guitarists. Don't do it. Don't play with guitar. No, sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, actually I have a trio with only bass, guitar, and piano. So we're really dealing with that the whole time. So what definitely helps is find like a kind of fair division, like who play where. And in some tunes it can work if some play the more rhythm and the other one more like long chords, for instance, like in a bossa or a ballad. But if you go both for like freestyle comping, it's going to be a disaster. Yeah. Okay. Modal blues. Oh, yeah. I think in the beginning I just showed like to put it just actually more into sus chords and pentatonics. So I think I already showed you that. Oh yeah. Also another thing. I will definitely put the PDF of United Blues from Ron Carter on the website tonight. There are some other really nice, interesting blues to practice or to listen to. It's like actually they call blues with a bridge. And the two that I really like that I actually play a lot is One is Bittersweet from Sam Jones. And there you get the bridge. So nice to check out this blues, Bittersweet, Sam Jones, and it's played by Cedar Walton with Bob Burke. I think Eastern Rebellion, that's the name. Another one that you don't hear so often is Unit 7 by the same composer. So maybe you can also check that one out. And then the bridge. Yeah, it's a cool blues. So we got two with the bridge now, Unit 7 and Bittersweet. So let's say what I actually also said as an assignment, like there are so many different melodies written on the rhythm changes, same as with the blues. So I think we should all try to write our own blues this coming week or something, and learn at least 2 or 3 different melodies on the blues that are not Billy's Bounce or Now's the Time. So also nice to check out like different recordings of the blues in different tempos. So like if you have Blue Monk, that's quite slow, and even slower would be Things Ain't What They Used to Be. And then you have some faster ones like the bebop blues, and you have some really fast ones like Matrix, Chick Corea. That one definitely have to check out for different inspiration. Some voicings. Definitely the ones I showed with the fourths, they were good. But could also work is like to go for a little smaller voicings, like more the drop 2, for instance. So if we think of F7, so we can see it actually, if we think about Barry Harris, we can see it as a C minor 6, and then we can also apply his diminished 6 scale. So C minor 6, B diminished, C minor 6. That's similar on the B flat 7, but then F minor 6, E diminished, F minor 6. So that's like a different type of voicing than the fourths that I just showed. And maybe another thing that could be really cool to practice is thinking about triads on top of the chords. So that's what we call the upper structure triads. And we can definitely talk about this also more often in the next few lessons. And wave is also a blues. Yeah, actually, that's like nobody recognized that one as a blues, but it's a blues. Wave is actually kind of a Alice in Wonderland, blues for Alice, but then in the bossa style. And also we have like Bluesette, which is also kind of similar, with some extra bars. So I think anyway, I'll put some stuff on the website, and I'll try to keep the this chat, live chat. Maybe it's time for a last question. And I hope anyway you had a lot of ideas, inspiration, material to practice. And then definitely I hope to see you back tomorrow. So I'll put anyway the live stream then online on the YouTube channel and supply you with some PDFs. So anyway, thanks all for listening and on this Bluesy Tuesday. And then, yeah, the last one, the slow blues. That's one of the most difficult. Yeah. But which transcription? No, the things that I will put on my website, everybody can just download for free. There's also a section, actually, I will put in the news section on my website, rolfverbavel.com. But there's also a section that's called free stuff. And you can get also, actually, this Blues in 12 Keys is also there. So, yeah, I hope to see you tomorrow. And yeah, stay healthy. Drink a lot of orange juice or ginger tea. And all the best.